This was a time capsule that had been sealed for 50 years. Inside were letters written by the very first class of students. The principal handed the letters out randomly. When Tommy opened his, it was just a page full of numbers. The boy couldn't make sense of it and showed it to his father, a physics professor. Lance was naturally drawn to numbers. He decided to study it. He walked over to a whiteboard and wrote down a string of numbers, 911012996. He tried splitting them up, looking for a pattern. The first few attempts didn't work. Then he tried a few more until a combination that made sense appeared. The 11th of September, Lance went online and searched. What he found left him stunned. That was the date of the 9/11's attacks in 2001. Even more bizarrely, the number 2996 was the death toll, and this letter had been sealed in 1975, 50 years earlier. Lance's curiosity was now fully ignited. He wrote all the numbers on the board and checked them one by one online. What he hadn't expected was that the major disasters of the last few decades all matched the numbers. The dates and the death tolls lined up perfectly. That meant the person who wrote the letter had successfully predicted the future, but there were still some numbers after the death tolls that he couldn't figure out. So he tracked down a teacher from back then and asked where the child who wrote the prophecy was now. So much time had passed that the teacher had no idea what had become of him. Lance's trail went cold. He wanted to test whether these predictions were real. He watched the news all day. On the day the letter had predicted, nothing happened. That afternoon, he went to pick up his son from school. A heavy rainstorm was pouring down. The roads were completely gridlocked. Then he noticed that the coordinates on his GPS matched the final string of numbers in the letter. Exactly. It hit him all at once. The last numbers weren't dates. They were a location. He got out of the car and went to ask a cop what was going on. But when the officer saw him, he turned and ran.